Okay, now here's the fun part. I get to show you how to find the pre-made assignments that are already housed within Seesaw. So you're going to come up to this plus sign that says add. So anytime you want to add an assignment, you're going to come here. You're going to click on this, and what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to assign an activity. So what it's going to take you to is something that's called My Library. That is where you're going to find activities that you save, whether you make them yourself or you pull them from the community and you save them into your library. But I wanted to show you the community activities. So for example, remember I had already told Seesaw that I was a second grade teacher, so it says search second grade activities. So it automatically filtered my activities by second grade level lessons, and it's pulling all subjects. So if I'm coming on here and I want my students to do a second grade math lesson, I can come down here and I can select math. And now it's going to give me a whole bunch of different activities. If you're specifically working on like fact families or something like that, you can search for that here, and it's going to filter through the second grade math lessons and look for those types of lessons for you. Okay, so I am just kind of shooting at the hip here. I didn't come looking for anything specific because I just wanted to show you guys how fun this is, that teachers love to share our things. So we can see that through all of these fun lessons here in the activity library. So maybe I'm going to do place value tens and ones place. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this lesson. It allows me to look at the lesson, and you can see that the activities in Seesaw, they involve teacher directions. Okay, so these are the student instructions. This is what the teacher wants them to do. These little symbols are symbols so the students know what they need to use. What tools do they need to use? They're going to need to know this plus sign. They're going to need to use the pencil tool. They're going to need to use the record tool. And again, they're going to turn it in using that check mark. Okay, these directions are completely editable by you. So say I love this lesson, I want to assign this to my class. What you would do is you would come over and you would click on this heart. By clicking on this heart, it's going to add it into your library. Okay, so if I want to see how that works, I can tap over here on My Library. I can see that the most recent activities that I've added to my library will show up first. So if I want to click on this, you've got always, whenever you see these three little dots, it's going to allow you to have a menu here. And so what we might want to do is copy and edit the activity. We can remove it from your library because remember in the free account you only have 100 activities that can be stored. So if you need to remove one, that would be how you would remove it. You can also share the activity. So if you have other fellow teachers that are using Seesaw with their classes and you're like, oh my gosh, you guys, I found this really great activity for our students to do. It goes right along with the curriculum that we're doing this week. You can actually share that activity. It's going to email it to the teachers so that they can see it and they can possibly add it to their library and then assign the activity on their classroom if they would like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say, I like these teachers' instructions. I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to click assign. It's going to ask me what class I want to assign this activity to. You can choose more than one class if you have more than one class that this applies to, or just simply select the one class that you're working in at the time. So I'm going to assign to one class. You can see that you can also schedule it. This is similar to Google Classroom. So if you don't want the students to see this assignment quite yet, you can choose to schedule it for the week that you want them to do that. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just assign it. Okay, so I want to see what it looks like in my class. Okay, So you'll see that now that I have assigned this assignment, and Seesaw gives nice little tutorial bubbles so that you kind of know what you're doing when you first start out, you can see that I am in the activities tab now. This is where your students would also go to find these assignments that you are giving them. Okay, so the journal is what it automatically logs them into. And normally this is full of student work. But again, they're only going to be able to see their own work here now because we've turned that switch off. So when we get back to traditional and your students are working on these assignments on the same day at the same time, then we can toggle that switch back on. But for now, I'm going to go back to this activity tab and I am going to look at this page. So when I click add response, which is what your students will do, see how it says tap activity, tap the plus sign, that's what they're going to tap. So I'm pretending I am a student at this point. And this is what you may want to do. You may want to make a Loom recording, or you may share this in a Zoom meeting with your students. You might teach them how to do Seesaw before you give them an activity. So if you were talking to your students, you would say, okay, if you're going to complete an assignment in Seesaw, you're going to click here first. You'll see, remember how I had told you to keep that sample student there? That's going to allow you to get on and act like a student. So I'm going to click on sample student. You can see the activity has popped up. As a student, I'm not really sure what to do. So if I need to come up here and I need to read the instructions again, then I can do that by clicking on view instructions at the top. So I see that it says select your name, which I select sample student. Okay, it says count the blocks and press the pencil to write the number on the line. Okay, so I am going to use the pencil like it said. I'm sure that the pen would work fine, or the marker or the magic marker, but I'm following my teacher's instructions and using the pencil. So I need to count this number as a student. I know that one of these is 10, 20, and then this is a 1, so this would be 21. Now, your students, if they have touchscreen devices, they are going to be able to just write right on the screen and put their answers in there. So your students would be able to engage in this by writing on the screen. These instructions specifically said to use the pencil. Students can also use the text box and other tools, but I'm going to get into that in another video. The purpose of this video was to just show you how there's already pre-made lessons on here. You don't have to do a lot of work. So if you want to use Seesaw just to access some of these pre-made lessons, it's really, really nice. So I'm going to stop the video here so it doesn't get too long. And now I am going to create another video to show you how you can use some of your own materials that you already have that's part of your curriculum and make it a Seesaw activity.